this is different. Look at you. You look like Curious George. Well, no, his dad. Wait, you know the monkey Curious George? Do you know what I'm talking about?
100%.
You do?
100%. Yeah.
How many people know about Curious George? A lot. Am I being crazy? Right?
That's funny that you brought that up. I was a big fan when I was younger.
Live feed of everybody watching this, like,
Yeah, close, X out, change, next.
clicking on some super sensational video about like, Mr. Beast giving away like $13 billion. No, I did. I had a crush on the guy in yellow and Andrew. Just saying, you're making me feel some kind of way right now, all right? I don't mean it in a weird way. I'm just
I was gonna go to take this off, because then I wouldn't be wearing yellow, but then I also would be taking my shirt off after you said that, which arguably would have been more confusing for everybody.
Especially me.
I'm already hearing the people who are like roommates who possibly there's got to be like a pair of roommates out there who watch the Sweet Boys podcast. Like,
or three.
Did you watch the podcast? And she's like, yeah, it was weird. Turned it off.
This one's like a hard pass. We haven't even talked about exactly what we're doing right now. We actually, believe it or not, this is not the episode.
Well, this is the episode, quite literally.
This is the episode, but it's sort of the pre-episode moment because we are dumb boys and we forgot to thank our sponsors.
Oh, boy, speak for yourself, man. I always did well on my tests.
In school?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my report cards, straight flush. Like, they were so bad. Did you ever try to, dude, I was like a criminal boy. Like, did you ever try to do stuff to your report card to make it look like?
Oh my gosh, Garrett.
What? No, dude.
Like that episode of Full House where somebody changes the F to an A and it looks so fake.
No. I was good. Like, I would go into I would like reprint and stuff. I'm sorry, dude.
You were out there like scanning and using programs that didn't even exist back in the early 2000s. Okay. Everybody wants more stories if you're a juvenile. What is it called?
Oh yeah, I was a huge problem. One time I got a police helicopter called on me. Oh. But we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
What I would like to say right now. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. We how I led into that is we forgot to thank our sponsors. So we're doing that right now, and that's why we're about to look a little different because the episode technically hasn't started, but it also has. Thank you so much to Care of and Andrew. Say the second one.
Green Chef.
Green Chef. Thank you so much to Care of and Green Chef for sponsoring this episode. And we'll tell you about those a little bit later. As for now, enjoy this episode where we actually begin with a pretty somber moment of talking about me crying.
That is true. Yeah.
So yeah, this will be an interesting one, and hope you're down to feel some emotions, and then hopefully have some laughs a little bit later in the episode. But as for now, enjoy.
Because
this is American Idol. What is that?
This is Sweet Boys.
Because Sweet Boys starts now.
Everyone, right as we start to say now, they just click away. And then the roommates again. Yeah, definitely. It's bad.
Regardless, we'll be back here in sponsorship mode.
Oh, yeah, you'll see us again. That's why I've got a freaking tie on my head. Did you notice? And Andrew's wearing the cool glasses. We need to start this. All right, enjoy. All right. Did you see me crying before we started this episode, Andrew?
I did. It didn't even seem unusual to me because I've been crying a lot lately too.
Yeah, it's interesting. The how we start that. That's the beginning of the episode. Hey guys, really looking forward to 2021. Did you see me crying? Yeah, I've been crying a lot too. It's true.
No, I faintly saw it in my peripheral vision, and
really good use of the word.
Well, yeah.
I think it's really nice. First of all, crying is a very beautiful thing, and I love the opportunity to be able to do it. It's nice to feel comfortable enough in front of someone that you can cry in front of.
Yeah.
Because it's very vulnerable to cry, and I was crying because, I'll tell anyone so they don't think they were tears of sadness necessarily. I was playing my favorite musician, James Blake, and just on the speakers before we got started playing, and I said, I sure do miss, being at a James Blake concert with like a cold $12 beer. And I just was back there listening to his voice and the bass and just thought of all the memories I've had and just started crying, and it wasn't like, just tears in the eyes. Just like, Jesus, I can't wait to get back to concerts, man. I figured it out the other day, Andrew, and I have gone to about 30 concerts a year since I've lived in Los Angeles, which is a lot.
You're making a good use of the city there.
Yeah. And so me without concerts it's not me entirely, and I know that's a very I get it. I know it's a privileged thing to complain about. I'm so grateful to have my health and all these things. Very grateful. But still, I just miss concerts, man. I miss living so badly. I just miss people. I miss so many things. Andrew and I last night we were speaking on the floor. We were on the floor of my new place, which is completely empty. And we were just really just kind of just laying it all out, man, just being really vulnerable and just being like, damn it, man, we just miss so much. What do you do when you want to escape, when you want to go? Like, because I was like, Andrew, because, you know, Andrew, you were speaking about, you know, some emotional things and being vulnerable in this and feeling a little insecure about some stuff. And I said, dude, if it was any other time, I swear to you right now, we'd record a couple episodes and we would just go to Japan. We would just like straight up, I'd grab a backpack, I'd pack some gear for you, book the tickets, and we'd just go to Japan for like 2 weeks. Unplug, backpack, hostels, get arounds on the train, you know. But I was like, there's just nothing like that right now. So I don't know. I think strange, maybe cold open, perhaps.
Well, they're setting the tone. I think it's appropriate because me and Garrett were kind of talking about the vibe that we were feeling, and we are like, oh, this one might be a little bit more of a you know, more calm, chill, reflective hour or so compared to some of them.
And if you, if anyone listening has seen, you know, the videos on my channel and stuff, and eventually in the not too distant future, perhaps the videos on Andrew's channel as well, which is exciting to think about. But you know that, you know, especially when we do videos, it's really leading into fun, chaotic, crazy, colorful, insanity energy.
Yeah.
And why we started this podcast initially was because Andrew and I go to a lot of different places, just like you go to a lot of different places with your friends and conversations. You're not always laughing all the time, you know. Sometimes you're crying together. Sometimes you're trusting each other. Sometimes you just everything that comes with friendship. Why we wanted to start the Sweet Boys podcast was be able to like just go, you know, visit that whole spectrum of friendship and emotions and everything, but with people. And vulnerability isn't easy. And sometimes it's really easy for Andrew and I, and it comes really naturally, almost too naturally sometimes for us just to like goof off or to, you know, and then we see that 2 hours have passed. We're like, we have to stop filming. I think that when you're online, it's really easy to feel pigeonholed into being one thing. And sometimes it's like, drop your shoulders, be something else. And that's what's cool about this podcast. So long-winded intro to this is like, you know what? Sometimes, especially during the nature of 2020 and what 2021 is going to be, and hopefully it's going to be a very good thing. We hope that you're down sometimes on Sweet Boys just to get a little introspective with us. Because sometimes we cry, sometimes we laugh. You know, I don't know.
Okay, Drake.
Wait, is that old Drake line?
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it because I think the copyright system might pick it up. But literally,
well, I got another surprise. Drake, come on.
Song's nominated for a Grammy. Fun fact of the day.
Oh, I think I know how that song goes. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry. My name is Drake, baby. Yeah. Stupid.
You really 180 there with the tone.
I hate it.
It's great. I love it.
I also have a sort of a staff that and hairspray. Sorry, it's not an advertisement for big sexy hair. I had to get it out of here.
Yeah.
Also,
right.
I look like a stripper right now.
You do kind of have that bachelorette party vibe going on there.
I don't know what's going on. I've got like a staff here for fighting, and I look like a stripper.
Someone's gonna make a compilation of weird, sort of like clothing derobing moments on something. You've had your fair share.
I know. I don't know.
At least
happening.
4 of them, I think. For audio listeners, Garrett's just wearing a pretty it's hard to explain. It's like a flannel. Yeah, it's not even worth explaining.
I had a jacket earlier, and the sleeves were too long. I buy a lot of used clothing.
Yeah.
I'm really, really into used clothing, which is something I like to be a champion of and talk a lot about because I know it seems like I'm getting a little off track here, but what the hell is a track anyways? But not hating on designer clothing. I think fashion's really cool, but I don't understand why there's so much cool clothing out there that already exists at thrift stores and being sold online and on eBay and all these different places. I love used clothing.
I'm so much more into the way something fits me. I would never prioritize a designer over just the way something fits. I remember there was like one pair of jeans I bought, which was like $20 at Kohl's, and I would spend $200 to find those jeans again.
Incredible.
Because it just fit me so well. And I was like, oh, I like the way I feel in these. I look forward to wearing these. And now it's why I never wear jeans. I wear my track pants all the time because find me another pair of pants that fit me like these track pants, and I'll wear them. And I don't care if they're $4 or $200. That's what I'm after when it comes to clothing.
That's a good perspective. I'm so insanely specific with my the fit of things as well because my thighs are like the diameter of like the Titanic, which the ship. God rest its soul. But yeah, so lots of different odd dimensions. Because I'm a mountain troll.
Well, you know what you could get someone to tailor your clothes for you. That would be sick.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
In college, I helped out the golf team, and they gave me a golf polo.
Yeah.
And I broke out a sewing machine and I tailored it to my body. Still
You broke out a sewing machine?
Oh yeah.
Andrew, I didn't know you
All
could.
you have to do is flip the clothes inside out, take a couple measurements of like, whatever, and then you just sew inward. Like you literally can just, once you flip anything inside out, you just sew it to how you want it to fit you, and then you flip it the other way.
Someone needs to wife this man up. Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
What a dreamy husband you would make. Can you
Yeah.
imagine, like, your wife is like, oh, I feel like I wish these jeans fit better. Like, I waited for them for 4 weeks online. I'm so excited. She wakes up the next morning, you go, hey, babe, I took in those jeans for you a little bit.
But see, right there, there's like a line that I have to balance, because I can't be too...
What?
Well, I'm just saying, generally speaking, you're acting like a guy who breaks out his sewing machine and tailors his own clothes is some sort of crazy appeal for women to gravitate towards him. I'm saying, listen, I get where you're coming from,
Of course.
but I'd have to do it in like this really cool way. I have to be wearing like, I don't know, I'd have to decorate the aesthetic around me to be really masculine
I
or
think
something.
this is this is. I mean, if there's women listening to this, girls listening to this is interesting. It's an insight into the mind of a man, into the mind of Andrew.
There's a fashion designer. I think his name's Oswald Boateng.
That
Could
sounds
be
like a
wrong.
villain from Batman.
No.
That he like fights with like a staff full of like a weird gel, and he'd be like, "Got you, Batman."
No, he kind of just looks like a James Bond, like James Bond or something.
Oh.
He just seems like a really cool guy. But there's a
So not what I described with a Batman villain with a staff full of green gel.
don't think so.
Okay.
But there's like a documentary about him. He's on for anybody who cares about the tailoring world. He's on like Savile Row, I think. That really popular street. I don't know where it is.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people have reference to this in pop culture if they've seen the movie Kingsman.
Yeah.
Which is where he.
It's just I don't know. It's just cool. There's a whole culture and industry when it comes to like tailored clothing, especially like suits and stuff. And
Yeah.
the idea of getting into that is something that I've toyed with before. But I like the idea. Kind of going back to my minimalism thing. Can you imagine how cool it would be if I only had like 5 pieces of clothing, like 5 pairs of pants, 5 shirts, and it was all super tailored, and maybe I tailored it myself.
Oh my God, Andrew.
That's more what I want to get on.
That's-
We have an opportunity here to really
That's nasty.
really
Yeah.
intricately link what we were saying to what we were talking about to where we're going to go, and I think there's something there.
I do too. It's funny. It's a little foggy and a little translucent, but we can harden
Kind
it
of
up.
talking about the nature of the state of the world
Yeah.
and headspaces and what Garrett was talking about earlier. We've been talking a lot about just I always, and thank God for Garrett, he's always helping me navigate my endless supply of angst and anxiety, and I think every 2 weeks something surfaces mentally with me that I'm like, shoot, man, I gotta like figure this out. I gotta process this, and he's always there to help me. So
Well, you're welcome, Andrew. and I
thank
have
you
really-
as always.
Yeah, we have very yin yang energies, very sun and moon sometimes, which is an interesting dynamic, and he does the same thing for me too. So God bless.
And what you were saying about
Yeah.
obviously everybody's experiencing their own relationship with being quarantined and not being able to do things that they're usually able to do.
Yeah.
Sounds like yours is very obvious. Like you're a huge people person, and I think you get a lot out of
Yeah.
experiencing people and like just communicating with people in real life and having these experiences. And I think something that some people may relate to as well, that maybe they don't even realize that they would relate to,
Yeah.
is I think mine is almost subconscious in terms of I always have this anxiety and I'm always dealing with things, and I don't realize that I don't have that X factor of being able to go out and see people and kind of dilute that,
Yeah.
and it's almost like in this situation, you don't think about that sometimes because you're so used to it.
Yeah.
But I could be dealing with something mentally for like 2 weeks, and it could be maybe bothering me more than it usually is. And it's like, oh, shoot, it takes you to remind me. It's like, well, yeah, man. I think my dad actually brought that up the other day. I was getting in my head about something, and he's like, yeah, and it's unfortunate that you can't, meet up with, and he started listing all these, people in my life, and, go to the bar and hang out or just do all this or that. It's like, yeah, because that would completely take me out of my head for a while. And then maybe when I went back in my head, it'd be a little less cloudy. But now it's kind of like, just deal with it.
And this is something that Andrew and I were speaking.
I hope that made sense.
Listen, I can say objectively for people that made sense, because I think that Andrew and I were speaking a lot about this last night, because everyone, no matter who you are, what age you are, if you're in high school, if you're in college, if you're a working adult, whatever you are right now, you have if you could friggin' grandmothers. If you have, dude, I freaking hope grandmas listen to Sweet Boys.
Whoever's listening to be a couple.
26. I'm really hoping for that number. 26 to the no matter what you are or whatever, at any point in your life, everyone is dealing with this right now of having their lives. I feel, dude, you and I, Andrew, are capable adults with, capable to some degree with coping mechanisms and things. I think of all the young people out there who are having their high school, junior high years kind of taken from them right now and having to be thrown into this emotional whirlwind, because Andrew and I, as grown adults with coping mechanisms and a lot of experience under our belts, this is something that we radically struggle with. So if you're out there and you're feeling the pain of this, we really understand it, because like no matter, even if like the city you live in is a little bit more flippant with the virus and everything that's happening, you're still dealing with it. You still aren't going to school. You're going to a really warped different version of school, because everyone's going to the same kind of government school generally with the same rules. So you're dealing with a really weird nightmare version of what your life should be. And what Andrew and I were navigating last night, trying to navigate emotionally, was the weird feeling of at first it being, oh, this is weird and scary, but like almost kind of interesting because it's a different way of life. And then, getting several months into that and being like, whoa, it's still weird. What's happening? But there's a certain numbing that happens to where you almost forget what life was like, and it's like you forget your base level, and that's when it gets a little bit scary. That's when people start to get into issues with, like, if they have mental issues that they deal with and stuff, when it becomes less of almost like, I hate to call it a gimmick, but you know what I mean, almost this like, whoa, what's happening, and more of like, what was my life before? And so something that I remind Andrew of a lot, and also if you're listening to this right now, I want to remind you of, is like, just remember that right now, the way life is, I promise you, this is not your base level. And if you're so young listening to this that like, you're starting to think this is your base level, I promise it's not. We're going to get back to normal eventually. There's going to be concerts, there's going to be people, there's going to be things you go to, to break up that day-to-day thing and put those things in between, because time feels so nightmarish and weird right now, and blended together and foggy, because there's nothing to break it up. Before, you went to concerts, you tapped into different things emotionally, you had conversations, you navigated story, you did all these different things, you went to school, you flirted with people, you had all these different things to break up time. Nothing like that exists right now. So like, if you're listening to this, just please remember, it's almost like someone telling you, like, don't worry, you're in a dream. Like, you're gonna wake up soon,
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about with people on the internet, kind of putting on a show for people, kind of making it seem like, oh, like everything's great, or at least feeling like they need and are obligated to do that, which I think there's a little bit of value, luckily for us, that we can provide in this context of being more open about feeling, certain emotions that a lot of people probably hide, because I feel like that can't be helpful for anybody who, the average person out there following people on Instagram and Twitter, and just kind of seeing this sort of unaffected aesthetic from their feed, where in reality they might be kind of feeling certain things.
I think it can make you feel a little bit more lonely. Like if you were seeing people like, partying or keeping up this sort of veneer of like this emotional state, it's almost like you just want to, shake that person and just be like,
it always helps to know that you're not the only person who's, going through something. So I think generally speaking, if they're, even if you don't struggle with, anxiety and stuff, but you just are kind of finding it a little more difficult to find your mojo or whatever the word is. It's like
your spark for those Pixar soul viewers.
I think that's pretty universal, despite what it may look like. And I think that that's a nice thing to hear, because like I said earlier, I think is you have to remind me of that sometimes. And it's kind of funny. It's like, shoot, dude, I keep on forgetting that I can't fuel myself up with these things that usually provide me comfort, even if I don't even realize it, which I think is the point that, you were making earlier. It's not always obvious that, that's a huge factor to this stuff. Not only social media, but I mean, on the news. I mean, I usually don't watch like the news.
Yeah.
And I added on like a couple weeks ago for the first time, because I got YouTube TV, which is basically like cable, and I was like watching a football game, and the news came on, which I like haven't had access to traditional cable news for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is like I always kind of dislike the news when I was younger
Yeah.
because having anxiety even as a kid, you almost kind of want to steer clear of
Oh.
anything that can plant a seed in your brain, especially when you're really susceptible to like harping on things. Like somebody might tell you something and you'll never forget it because you're a kid and you're really you're like a sponge, right? So
Yeah.
when the news was on, I'd kind of be like, what's going on? I'm gonna just go ahead and look the other way.
You-
And it's not a good or a healthy thing. But having seen the news for the first time in like years as a grown adult, I was like, oh my gosh, like cable news, like
Just-
people and reporters.
I
and
imagine you with like a little piece of toast, just like trying to battle your anxiety at like 9 years old with the news, just like 100 bodies found decapitated in the water supply.
yeah,
Just you trying to like wait.
exactly. Yeah.
Anxiety is an interesting thing. Andrew navigates that a lot more than I do, and when I say a lot more than I do, I mean a lot more than I do. Because Andrew, we're very different people, and yeah, it's a funny thing. I do experience it though to a degree. I'm not completely immune to it. I do understand it, but not in a way that's ongoing. But I did hear something that made me, as a person who doesn't understand anxiety that much, I heard something that really brought it down. And it sounds kind of funny, but it's actually not because it really helped me understand. It is funny though. It said anxiety is like when you're in a video game. And there's like the bad guy music playing because every time in a video game when you have to fight bad guys, like the music changes to like let you know that there's danger. Then you have to fight. But it's like anxiety is like when you're playing a video game and like the bad guy music is playing, but you can't see any of the bad guys that you have to fight. And like the music just keeps on going, but you can't see what's happening. Because I've definitely felt that way. Weirdly enough, kind of recently too, like this weird like something's wrong, something's off, and it's made me have a lot more sort of understanding of what anxiety is. But yeah, it's not something that I really deal with as often as you do, Andrew. But it is interesting, and I do think that it's something that is really hard nowadays to navigate because nothing is breaking it up.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It sounds like you as a human being, dealing with the pandemic in your own way, you're finding these areas where you're like, oh shoot, I really wish.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, before the pandemic even happened, just like I'm sure many people,
Yeah.
are the same way. I was already dealing with, having going to therapy and kind of trying to lock down some habits to like minimize my anxiety. So
Yeah.
the issue with that now is that you can't really find that perspective and get that distance because getting out of your head is such a nice thing for people who deal with overthinking and a lot of stress because you're like, oh yeah, I don't know, I kind of forgot about that thing. I was really, really anxious about it, but I just kind of, I don't know, did this, and this, and this, and talked to a bunch of people, and kind of just forgot about it. That happens sometimes, and now it's kind of like speaking of video games, when it comes to navigating that stuff, I feel like it's like initiate level or the hard difficult mode or whatever.
Yeah.
In terms of like trying to really process.
It's just hard for people right now, man, and it's nice. It's just not. That's like why we're doing this right now. Why we're not goofing off with gingerbread men and props sometimes because it's cool to just to speak about this stuff kind of frankly, especially when you're feeling it. Because it'd be dishonest for us to be doing anything else right now, considering that last night we spoke for like 5 hours about this stuff and really went deep. It's just nice.
Definitely not trying to bum anybody out. If anything, hopefully this is somewhat rejuvenating to hear just in the context of everything going on because it is. It's funny because I love goofing off and just having fun and forgetting about stuff and just whatever. But sometimes it's kind of like I don't know if that's the vibe right now, which is
like
why
I said, that's literally always going to be our base level. My channel and what I tap into there and stuff, and the things that I create, that is my natural base level. Is to like my curious, weird, wild, colorful, silly world that I like to create. That's my comfort zone. It's how I feel comfortable editing. Everything about that is very real. But I was initially interested in the podcast, not to necessarily go, oh yeah, I want to do more of that all the time. It's like I want to be able to do this in this podcast with this person, Andrew Sawicki, that I love so much, with people that come on, with you guys here. That's another big thing is Andrew and I have had a lot of conversations recently about trying to bring in more of a community aspect and wondering how we would go about that, finding a live something or the other that we could maybe do. So those are ongoing conversations, and let us know in the comments if you guys would be interested in something like that, because we really want to do that. We don't know if it's Twitch or a live YouTube after show or something fun like that.
It's something. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I do value that.
But that's I'll wrap it up. But all I was saying of that is like I wanted to do a podcast for the very reason that is this energy right now, is being able to be like, no, like I'm human. The people listening or that watch me are also human. It's nice to, because we're very dynamic people. We all have different sides. I mean, I'm a Gemini, so like, I don't know. Sorry, I know nothing about like all astrology and stuff. I just know people think that about Geminis and stuff. But it is very true. I do fit that. Sorry. But point is, though, is that we're very complex people. We have a lot of different sides to us. And this is why I want to do a podcast and what is to be able to tap into this whenever we're feeling it and whatever feels organic, even though most of the time it'll probably be just, chaos with the bone spider and color and frantic energy.
Find this like this is your palate cleanser for when.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, because there are some episodes to where 2 hours will pass and we'll just be like,
I don't remember what the last episode was at all. I think we just blacked out.
Oh,
and then we saw that we recorded for 2 hours and we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
but
there's episodes we've recorded and we're like, this is illegal. It has to be like just like literally nothing was said. Insanity. Like, and you guys know exactly what those episodes have looked like. But I wanted to tell you, I was in an occult store earlier, and I'm sorry I've had this staff here. Apparently, it's from a show called Marvel's Runaways, which I'm a big Marvel fan, but I don't know about it. I was in a store and this guy sold it to me. He said it was used on the show, and I said, okay, I'll buy it. And I think it's really cool. I'm going to fight someone with it someday.
You could.
I think probably a bad guy. But I wanted to tell you.
You need to get that thing out of here. That is causing so much trouble with your cords and your the way you're sitting. It's an eyesore.
Well, I brought.
Jeez.
It's a. Sorry, audio listeners. I'm showing Andrew fun things that I've purchased. It's a crystal, right? It looks like a crystal, but it's light as a feather. It's a prop. It's fake. Isn't that fun? But that's actually not what I wanted to show you. I was in this occult store. Wait, I think I can grab it with my senses. I don't even need. I'm dressed so stupid right now. I want to freaking throw up. Where is it? Help.
Garrett's broke into show and tell for anybody who's listening.
I
just don't know where that came from. Oh, jeez.
I got us matching daggers.
That's cool.
I know. I got us matching daggers, and they were also used in this Marvel show run. By the way, I promise this is like sponsored by Marvel or the show, but it's a prop house that like sold these things, and I thought matching Sweet Boy daggers.
Whoa, this is crazy.
Careful, because they're daggers. Isn't that fun though?
It's kind of. Maybe I'll put it by Chloe.
Oh, that's a nice idea. Oh. Well, Chloe's probably got daggers already, but okay. Oh, Andrew, I didn't know you could sit so fun.
Yeah, this is me in PE. Waiting to get called on.
Oh, PE was terrifying. Wait, I want to sit fun. No, I don't. You're already doing such a good job, Andrew. Whoa.
Sponsor mode is here.
Andrew, stay like that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Will you?
For the audio listeners, youtube.com/sweetboys.
Andrew's sitting crazier than you've ever imagined.
It's not worth it, though. No.
Andrew, listen, move how you want to move, but I want to ask you, Andrew, do you know...
Awful pop song.
What?
Move how you want to move.
Move how you want to move. Be what you want to be. Behave like you want to behave. And throw your hands up in the sky, yeah.
Andrew, do you know something so good that people rarely do for themselves? Take their vitamins. And I get it. Andrew, the world of vitamins can be very intimidating and confusing, and you know that. Aisles, full of walls of aisles of bottles everywhere. A billion different brands. What's in those? What am I doing? I want to take my vitamins, but I don't know what to do.
Overwhelming comes to mind. Confusing comes to mind.
Oh, Andrew, if only there was a wellness brand that made it easy to maintain your health goals with a customized vitamin plan that helps you feel your best today and supports you long term.
We can dream.
Andrew, we don't have to dream. Because Care of exists. Andrew, they make it so easy. Andrew, you take their 5-minute quiz that intelligently assesses your personal wellness needs, and then they send you the good stuff.
5-minute quiz. Sounds like me in math.
Sounds like me on a date. I don't know.
Because you're just interrogating the person, then you leave.
Why are you still single? Why are you here on this date with me?
God.
Andrew, I would like to tell you that all of Care of's products are formulated with good-for-you clean ingredients that are backed by science. Andrew, did you know that adding a daily vitamin can support your sleep, energy, and fitness goals? You could almost say that taking care of your health could be your slightly late but very important New Year's resolution.
Dude, what? God.
I can't believe I did it. I know.
Oh.
Anyways, Andrew, they make it so easy. We know. We use it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
So I start my day. I wake up, I take my Care of vitamins. It's all nice. It makes me feel like no matter what I do,
Whoa.
for the rest of the day,
Whoa.
no matter what I do,
Okay.
for the rest of the day,
All right.
I've taken care of my body. Yeah, I've turned it back on G.
And if
I
you-
turn it back on G.
Okay, all right, listen, and if you want to be like Andrew here, or at least some version of him, and you want to use Care of as well, then great news. Because we're giving you 50% off your first order. You just go to takecareof.com and enter code SweetBoys50. No spaces in that. You go to takecareof.com and enter code SweetBoys50.
Let me tell you something. That's the best deal I've ever had in my life.
The best deal you've ever heard in
And
your
I
life?
and I got a deal on a. I don't even know what accent I'm doing anymore. I'm gonna stop.
Thank you, care of. All right, you want to get back to the podcast?
Care of good vitamins. Yes, morning routine. Yep.
Back to the podcast. Anyways, back.
I don't know where we were, and I don't know if I care.
No, I don't either. Isn't that fun?
All.
But yeah, so I mean, leave it to me to be like, it's really nice to be serious sometimes. But I needed to give you the matching daggers.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, can you imagine cutting up a little lime or a little lemon with a dagger and then putting it in your water in the morning, or a cucumber.
Whoa.
At this point,
And then I got a little box, which is apparently made of bone, but who knows? Andrew, I would
is
love
this for the set. Is it? Are these items
well,
for the
I
set?
got it from my mantle. I figured I'd put some gems in it, like little stones, like a little treasure box. I've been really into like Aladdin recently. It's kind of weird.
Garrett's place has a really cool aesthetic, and the unveiling of it will be really cool.
Oh,
I want to see it
yes.
decorated.
I'm really excited. Yeah. As for now, by the time people listen to this, it'll have seen it because I did a clickbait video. My timing makes perfect sense.
I don't know about this.
Oh, really?
When is it? When is your video gonna go up?
Like the 25th. Yeah.
Well, who knows?
Jesus. So we should know this Wednesday.
Domino's just emailed me. Domino's just emailed me. Despite my efforts to get them to stop sending me notifications on things, Domino's just emailed me.
I think so much about thin crust Hawaiian style pizza. I was talking to Laura DIY about it just last night.
You're talking to Laura DIY about thin crust pizza. Dreams do come true. By the way, I started breaking out the pizza song because Garrett wanted me to check when his video was going to be up. Yes, Garrett's video probably.
Don't say probably. I've never.
Don't
I am the most
say
consistent person on
probably.
the planet with my channel.
You chiming in and to tell me to not preface the audience or to not amend to the audience that there might be a little bit of a delay with your upload is the most
my upload
delusional
schedule
thing I've
is
ever-
more consistent than the sun.
power goes out because like there's never been like a quantum force that had packed such a lie before that the world can't handle.
Yeah, if there's like a god in the sky, he just went like, that was the biggest lie ever told. Send the asteroids. But what's the date that this? Sorry,
Shoot! Oh no,
Andrew,
you break out my phone.
help!
No, I think
you
this,
help me.
If
help me.
you're watching this podcast on the day that it is uploaded, you're probably watching it on the 27th of January.
So I have a video up on my channel right now where I do introduce. I do.
If his video isn't up, we're leaving this in, and then just put a big stamp with the word liar across.
There is going to be.
Oh my gosh, Segway City. Segway City.
Wait, what?
Everybody's
You just like exposed me for being some like liar. You're like, he's a liar. You're like,
Maybe.
you pull out like a scroll. I'm like,
The lie is to be determined.
Listen,
All
there
I would
is
say-
a video up on my channel right now, and I'll link it at the freaking end screen of this video. But no, there's a video up on my channel which is called. Well, it's a tactic. It's not a clickbait. It's a tactic that I used.
Oh,
it's a
God, that's even worse.
No, it's fun.
Tactic.
No, it's fun. It's you just have to see it to believe it. But it's a new house tour is what it is, and it's disguised as something else. But it is exactly what it's called at the same time. It's
I
a
look
whole
forward to seeing it. Also, I need to put moisturizer on my face.
me when I need to put moisturizer on my face. Sorry, I hated it.
Well, it's just that your skin ever get kind of relatability alarm. That moment where your skin is oily but also dry at the same time. Boom. The tweet viral. CNN to Cosmopolitan has referenced the tweet. They're putting the screenshot of it as the most relatable thing that's happened in the last 16 years.
Well, whoa, 16. It's very specific. All right.
There's a reason. There was somebody who put on Facebook 17 years ago something that everybody was like, "Oh my god,
Skin is weird.
that's a whole account.
Oh, yeah, I
that's a
know.
username." Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah.
The screen is there.
Yeah.
So to the left of me would be the recommended section. So if you're on YouTube.com, shout out to our audio listeners who are unfortunately not able to see this display that I'm doing here. But
There's a hair in my mouth. Where'd this come from?
to the left of us,
Ew.
Garrett Watts' new video may in fact be being recommended to you. So check that out. If not, maybe just type in Garrett Watts on YouTube.com and then you go to his channel because it will apparently be there.
Yes, it will be there. It's something about me exploring a haunted.
Are you leveraging the podcast audience to like light a fire underneath you to knock this out?
No. I find that within myself because I'm good at getting things done because it's 21 now and I'm fit and I'm healthy and I'm doing great and everyone is very impressed and my family's text messaging me and they're saying you're doing good and I have a boyfriend and let's just say that his name is Michael Fassbender and he's very handsome and he left his wife for me and I said, don't do this, Michael. Don't do this. She's a great actress. She's very talented. He said, I want to do this. And we might have bought a house in the hills together. And then I said, I don't want a house in the hills. I actually want something a little more simple. And he said, what about this church? And I said, church? Michael, what are you talking about? And he said, well, it's in Alabama and I think it'd be kind of romantic and cool. And I said, you know what, Michael, I'm ready for this adventure. And he was like, I am too.
It's just, well, one,
Yeah.
the fact that I somehow am not privy to any of this is strange. And also the fact that you withheld it. It sounds like such a perfect situation. Like, it sounds like your life right now, based on what you just said, is so comically incredible that the idea of you withholding that information out of us, like to not have a celebratory moment of reflection in the context of our friendship is like very, very, very hard to believe.
Yeah.
Very hard to believe. I'm also assuming this has taken a long time. I'm assuming this didn't happen last night.
No.
So this has been like months.
Months.
And nothing, not one iota.
Every time you come over, which is every day we see each other, I say, Michael, my new husband, Michael Fassbender, who played Magneto in X-Men. I say, hide. And he goes, okay. It's like a fun game for us. Yeah. So I like to keep my little secrets.
You don't think that actually might be unhealthy? And like actually might be reversing all of this progress that you've apparently made and sort of like building up your life as a human being?
And he does exist.
Sorry if
sorry if you're listening to this.
I was gonna say sorry if I was slouching.
I am so hungry right now. I want a pizza so bad.
Dude, don't talk about pizza.
I will. I'll talk about pizza. I'm talking about thin crust Hawaiian.
Maybe that's what we could do. Maybe we have a cheat day in the middle of the week.
Oh.
We live stream us reading comments and we call it the after show. And we on live we eat pizza with like a bunch of hot sauces and like Sean Evans and everybody over there at Hot Ones is just like freaking out and emailing each other. What do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do? They have better hot sauces. They're more entertaining than us. Their production value is higher.
Nacho cheese time.
Oh,
wouldn't that be fun,
dude? If there was a segment called like chips and cheese, chips and cheese and I was gonna say.
Oh God!
I was gonna say chips and cheese and girl talk.
Chips and cheese and girl talk is great.
But what's not girl talk? That's like something that's like we're just talking about, something.
Oh, it's
just girl talk doesn't apply to us.
Chips and cheese and gossip. That's chips and cheese and shade.
Sounds like me when I eat my appetizers on the patio of my favorite bar and grill.
Oh,
because I'm underneath the shit.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks.
Oh, that's cool. We can be like something about spilling the cheese instead of the tea.
Somebody right now in their car, just like, they turn on their turning signal and they check behind their shoulder. They pulled over and they got out and they did that thing where they like put their hands on their knees and kind of bent over and went.
And then like their like friend who's in the front seat is like, we can just turn it off. Like we can literally turn this podcast off. And they kind of go, no, I want to prove to myself that I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on going. Why?
Yeah.
We can just like listen to music. Something like so much more not this.
They get in the car, and then 10 minutes later, when inevitably we fall down another terrible wormhole, they gotta pull up again. And then everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, the friend in the front seat's like, we're on like a 300-mile drive. Like we've stopped 6 times and gone 10 miles.
I had an impression ready.
Yeah.
For you.
It was we were talking about the hot sauce stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Who's in an impression
it's
of?
a normal guy.
Okay.
Eats food.
Okay.
That's a little spicy.
Oh, this is good.
But like a little spicier than he thought.
Okay.
He thought it was going to be a little spicy, but
Sure.
a little bit more.
Okay.
Like just barely.
Yeah.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's little kick.
It was so much better than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
I do know that Andrew and I mentioned earlier that we were talking about, I was like, dude, if I had it up, Sorry about it. I was saying if I had it my way, we'd like literally run away to Japan right now. So we were talking about coping mechanisms and how to kind of feel different right now. Andrew, how do you think not only yourself, but maybe those listening who might feel really stuck and pent up right now in their cages, either of their mind or even in their physical cages, how can they feel a little bit more free? Not that I'm saying, oh, give us sage-like advice, because Andrew and I are really keen to never give like advice that we think is a prescription of any kind.
Because we're not experts, it's sweet boys.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have a follow-up to that. I kind of wanted to see the power
The
of like, where it
follow-up was
going
going to be, where we're not experts, and then you play like a little bit of like a tuba, like...
Well, I didn't have a two, and I didn't want to repeat.
Figure it out!
I'm sorry.
Figure these things out. I love carrying the show on my shoulders. I love it. It's so fun.
I just start singing out of fear. Okay, I'm sorry about what I did.
More!
Some yelling at some producer we don't have. Janice, this can't happen again.
I wanted to put
yeah.
I don't know how you actually pronounce the name, which is crazy because I like a fanboy.
It's Garrett.
No, like Rila Kuma.
Oh, no one knows what that is.
No, they do.
Who is that? What is that?
It's the little...
Is it a brand? Oh,
Is
it a brand?
That little bear that I have with the astronaut.
Oh, yes. Oh,
yeah.
That's so funny because I was the one who told you that was a show on Netflix, a Japanese show.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
Nah, no one knows.
Okay, sorry. For anybody who knows what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
I put a photo up on the screen.
Yeah, it's this adorable Japanese bear.
Yeah. It's a little stuffed animal.
Why are you
bear.
bringing him into this? What's happening?
Because he's going to be our producer. We're gonna have a camera on.
A producer, since we're alone here.
We're gonna have a camera on Really Kuma.
Yeah, so, and if we'll learn how to, we need to both learn how to say that.
Yeah,
properly.
yeah. Sorry for the Really Kuma stance.
That's incredible.
And then we'll cut to it.
Don't you love us talking about these ideas that we have not yet done, but we intend to do?
I just want to do something that, I was listening.
Whoa.
Just when you see getting off track, just coming a mile away.
No, I was listening to, every once in a while, I'll watch me a nice little Gary Vaynerchuk video. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, he's the guy who loves talking.
I hope Gary Vaynerchuk takes that clip and just reacts to it and just destroys everything that you just did.
I love Gary Vaynerchuk. One time I saw him at a restaurant that I really like, and it was cool. He was he was outside the restaurant, and someone drove by in an SUV and did a little flag down thing, like, can I get a picture?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he went over and very joyfully took a picture with them and hopped back into his conversation. By the way, I was just joking when I said that. I was thinking of the way that he speaks because he's always very reactive instantly when someone says, I think he's great.
Yeah, I don't watch too much of his stuff, but whenever I do, I'm like, oh, this guy's really cool. Because I think people want to be like him.
Yeah.
Because he's the definition of just do it and actually do it.
Every guy wants to be him, and every girl wants to be with him. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's got the perfect piece of advice for you. Gary Vaynerchuk, take it away. You just got to get up. You just got to do it, right? Okay.
Gary Vaynerchuk, there's a video of Gary Vaynerchuk telling the D'Amelio sisters exactly what to do with their career before they were super popular.
Really?
And I think he was right on the money.
Oh, right on the money. Lincoln on the 5.
I knew you were going to go there.
Was that fun?
Fun. Interesting. Let me
Let's think
about if that was fun.
I don't know. Who's on the 100, Benjamin? Sorry.
Let me check my wallet.
Yeah, right. Oh, $100 bill. Can you imagine?
I've had a $100 bill in my wallet at some point.
What's the most money you've ever found on the ground?
I think we already had this conversation.
You told me once, but you said you found $20.
It was a $20 bill in the suburb of St. Louis.
Try to find the owner.
I put up flyers. They said anybody listen to this $20 bill. I got a bunch of calls. And I started interviewing everybody. I said, what it looked like. Guess what? They all gave the right description.
That's right. Hey, some of them even sent in photos. I didn't know who to give it to. So I spent it on cigarettes.
Jesus.
I hated
It's
it.
a little child, dude. Weird.
Can I tell you something about me, Andrew? I don't have any muscles. I was looking at my arm just now on the screen. Look, I'm flexing. I wish I had muscles. Andrew's got really good. I want to build more muscle. Andrew, Andrew's gonna show his bicep, dude. Yo, if you're an audio listener right now, you're out of luck because Andrew's gonna flex. Look at him. Look, he's got a good bicep. Look. Oh,
here's the thing.
Do it.
The only reason why I don't mind showing my bicep is because I don't have any other muscles.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe this won't actually read. It's been a while. This was like 6 months ago.
I don't have anything there. Do it.
Hold on.
Flex his bicep. Oh, all the girls are getting ready to faint, and the boys. And who? Oh, look at it. Look at it go. Hey, he's got such a good bicep.
I never look at my bicep. I never do it. That
That's a shame. If I had a great bicep like that. Oh, wait, do I? No. Did I look like Thor for a second? In my head, I kind of did.
Dude, yeah.
Like a brawny, like, yeah.
It's just so funny because and this is proof.
Hey, the bicep boys. We're rebranding. You're going to love our biceps, our workout tips, and our I start like slobbering a lot. Our nutrition tactics. Every day we're going to show you how to eat clean, paleo, and shakes and meats.
Eat clean, my God. My doctor called me the other day. He goes, your vitamin D level is like 0. I'm not going to sit here and preach health.
Now, the sun is something that is very good for people. Oh.
Yeah.
Back in sponsorship mode. The boys back in sponsor mode. You want to hear something wonderful?
I'm in a daze right now.
We're back in sponsorship mode.
It's like I'm sleeping,
Oh, Andrew.
but my eyes are open.
I love a sleep. I slept for 17 hours last night.
That sounds unhealthy.
I had a dream I lived in an attic.
I don't think attics have air conditioning or heat, so that would be...
I've had some wonderful times in an attic. I lived in an attic for about a week once. Oh, that was an interesting time. Andrew, did you know that there's a company called Green Chef?
Of course. How would I not know about Green Chef?
Well, Andrew, for those who don't know about Green Chef, they are the first USDA certified organic meal kit company that delivers organic, clean ingredients right to your door in perfectly proportioned meal kits for easy and fun, healthy cooking.
I know, I made one last night.
Okay, Chef Gordon Ramsay, how's the weather in Bragtown?
It's good. It's good. Well, in the evenings it gets a little cooler.
Well, you
so-
have a jacket though, right?
Yeah, like with this type of thing on,
yeah.
little like a lightweight raincoat or
I
something.
love a lightweight
Button-up.
raincoat. Green Chef makes eating well easy and affordable with plans to fit every lifestyle, Andrew. Whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, or just looking to eat healthier, they've got you covered. And Andrew, I know what you're thinking. You're going, is Green Chef as good for my body as it is for the environment? And the answer is a big yes.
This whole Green Chef thing, I like it.
Well, you're going to like it even more when I tell you that Green Chef is the most sustainable meal kit, offsetting 100% of its direct carbon emissions and plastic packaging in every box. So you can feel great not only about what you're eating, but how it got to your table. And if you want to get in on this glorious, easy service, great news, you can. You go to greenchef.com/sweetboys90 and use code sweetboys90 to get $90 off, including free shipping. Andrew, that's so many dollars off.
The weird lies stop here. There's no way it's
Andrew,
$90.
I'm not telling you a lie. You're going to get $90 off.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it after I go to greenchef.com/sweetboys90 and $90 off. Give me a break.
And here's a fun little aside for you. To our loyal listeners, or at least the ones with great memories, they might be thinking, this sounds a lot like HelloFresh, which is another similar service. Well, get this, Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh. In theory, one could switch between the brands for fun and variety, and our listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount with us.
Everyone's working together in harmony. Everything is sweet. Everyone's working together. If you want to eat, you can do it this way, and it's going to be wonderful.
Let's go ahead and get back to the podcast. You want to get back to the podcast?
Looking at my club, we have plenty of time.
Oh, you want to finish this off?
Yeah, actually, let me start over.
Okay, we're just going to get back to the podcast.
Your loss, buddy. I'm weirdly now territorial and proud of the nature of the fact that we can't stay on track just because I feel like I have to be.
What? This podcast straight up wouldn't exist.
This is part of the fun.
Yeah,
not
you know
knowing
what?
where we were going, where
I
we're going to
mean,
go.
dude,
It's like a haunted house. You don't know what's around the corner.
I love a haunted house. So I think there's this wonderful sort of life hack that I've been doing recently. And I almost tweeted it the other day, and then I didn't. It was like one of the greatest cheat codes in life is that you can play haunted house sound effects whenever you want. So yesterday, it was very dark. I turned off all the lights in my place. It was nighttime. I needed a little bit of spooky inspiration. I sat in the dark. I lit one candle, Andrew, and I played haunted house sound effects. And I scared the hell out of myself. It was so scary. Act 2. Sorry.
Act 2. Sorry, we just-
Officially. No more random thoughts. We're good.
The whole idea of this podcast, I think, the trajectory of it was going to be, hey, we're all kind of feeling, possibly, we're all kind of feeling whatever. Here's some,
I love it.
some thinking
Oh,
that we
that's
could
good.
apply to the situation. You were just telling me,
Yeah.
for instance, that I need to go to the desert, which I thought was
Oh,
interesting. I don't think I've ever been to the desert before.
Yeah, you're a man in need of some desert energy.
Gary Vaynerchuk, it's all coming together.
Oh, me with my cookie recipe.
Gary Vaynerchuk, he said something the other day that I thought was an interesting way of phrasing things.
What do you say?
Because sometimes when I get in my head and I get antsy, I tell myself, "Oh, I just want to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
I just want to, and not necessarily a vacation, but just doing some just weird stuff, like move my bedroom into the living room or something. I don't know, just some weird stuff like that. Like donate all of my clothes except for one thing, which I brought up before. But he said, he said when you're in a rut or when you feel stuck with anything, whether it's your work stuff or personal stuff, he brought up the idea of, oh, you need to do something that shocks the system. I thought was a really interesting thing to say. I know a lot of people out there, people in my life as well, who struggle with getting that inspo.
Yeah.
There I use the word inspo. I'm creating a Pinterest board.
I love it.
But I just did it, and there's no take-backs.
Weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say the no take-backs thing.
Yeah.
And then it just happened.
I like, listen, commitment.
Who did that? But anyway, he said, shock to the system.
Yeah.
And I always do think that's a really good way of kind of just
Yeah.
getting a little bit more perspective. So the idea of going to a desert sounds interesting. No phone. Can you imagine? Tell everybody that I talk to, hey, no communication for the next 4 days. I'll be in the desert, reflecting about life, getting some perspective, doing some soul searching, finding the inner me inside
I would
that
like
has
to go
been buried by
dude.
the plaque of societal norms.
My whole thing, and we were talking a lot about this last night, Andrew, is
Yeah.
like get weird with yourself,
Yeah.
man. Like my
This
friend.
is a really valuable thing, I think. I mean, I really took to it when you said it because it opens up. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm hyping you up now.
Well, that's nice.
It opens up the channel of personal growth that you actually want to participate in. There's this idea of like, do this, and then you'll feel better. You'll feel inspired. You'll get out of your rut or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, maybe that isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you need to,
Yeah, I think it's really, whenever I see people in the park doing like Tai Chi or something really different and not really caring about what other people are thinking and stuff, I know there's some people who have this kind of attitude of seeing like, let's say like the old woman in the park who's doing like the weird Zen thing. I know it's like the thing to kind of see that woman and be like, oh, what's she on? That kind of like attitude of like, well, I always want to, I'm a very peaceful guy, but I always want to muster as much strength as I possibly can in my arms, which we talked about, don't have much muscle, but I would try my hardest, and shove them as hard as I possibly could. And they would stagger back about 12 feet and say, what the hell, man?
You have to clarify. It does kind of sound like you're talking about the woman. You're talking about... We want to clarify that Garrett is metaphorically pushing back against people who criticize the woman, not the woman herself.
Can you imagine if I was like, no, the woman doing Tai Chi, she's weird. No, sorry. I'm speaking to the person who would say, oh, what's she on or whatever, because I love people like that. I'm a huge proponent, I think is the word, or I want to champion people who do things their own way and who do things a little bit untraditional in order to better themselves. My friend Michael in high school, I think, is a great example of what I'm talking about here. I walked into his room one day, and his bed was in the center of the room. Very, very cool guy. Very like, artistic, kind of great guy that I thought was very cool in high school. I still think he's cool.
Yeah.
And I walked into his room. His bed was in the middle of the room, and he wasn't a guy that was like prided himself on quirkiness. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put my bed in the middle of the room because it's weird,
Yeah.
But I asked him. I said, oh, this is interesting. I've never seen a bed in the middle of the room. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm really working on like feeling more confident and sort of vulnerable in my life. And so, I was doing some reading, and I learned that putting your bed in the middle of the room is like a trust building exercise with yourself and your environment. Because he was like, because you feel more vulnerable. He's like, behind you, there's space. On every side of you, there's space. He's like, people sleep in corners or with their backs to the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, and he always did stuff like that. No one, and this was in his room behind closed doors. He wasn't being quirky for people in public.
Yeah.
And so I loved that so much. And I think that, I mean, this sounds like I might be gassing myself up a little bit here, but I know that I do a lot of that stuff personally too. I'm incredibly ritualistic.
You do. Well, that's how we got in that conversation.
Yeah.
You were...
Oh, it's on set, if that's what you're referencing, the vase with the T.
Oh, yeah.
That's
oh,
funny.
Is it right there?
Yeah, the colorful one.
The main thing,
Yeah.
that you were talking about the other day that really kind of got me thinking about a lot of things, where you were talking about the idea of being personally ritualistic with yourself, which also aligns with another thing that I think is really important that you've told me that I should be doing more of, is celebrating things. It's just, there's a lot. It's all in that vein of taking the time to make moments for yourself, whether it's like in the pursuit of bettering yourself or whether it's in the pursuit of having gratitude. It's like taking the time to actually make time for that. Like literally, that's what you're saying. You know, you can explain this thing behind me for anybody who can see. It's a vase.
The colorful vase to the left of the little green canister up on that thing behind Andrew. It's sort of funny, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I will say, what Andrew just alluded to is I think, and my brother Randy and I, my older brother Randy, who has also been a really good sort of mentor for me emotionally and everything in my life.
Randy's the man.
He's the man. He's incredible, and he talks a lot about this, and it's something that I greatly agree with. And I so wish that we had more as a country. And hey, maybe I need to be the change that I want to see, or so on and so forth. Yeah. But he talks about how we don't have any sense of ritualism as like American youth, like growing up. We really don't. There's cultures, of course. Everyone knows how in Native American culture they'll go on like these jaunts into nature and stuff and find themselves. Historically, I don't know if that still happens, but I'm saying like historically, everyone knows that there's a lot of ritualism in Judaism. There's ceremonies to become a man, to do all these things for women. It's all these different things throughout cultures, which are really, really cool, that celebrate sort of the passing of time, the passing of the baton, like all these different things. We have so few things as American youth, which I assume there's a lot of Americans listening to this podcast, or maybe where you are, you're feeling alive to this as well. I would rather just say in the modern world. But ritualism is such an important thing to kind of tell yourself, give yourself moments, because the modern world, the internet, Instagram, all the social media apps, they're so fleeting, they're so fast, they're so this, there's that. Everything is available to us. Everything is so quick. Everything is so fast moving that we are letting emotional things fall into that same category of like, Tinder and this app and likes and everything. Nothing has a moment anymore. Everything is so diluted. So I think if you're feeling spread thin and you don't know what to do and you're feeling like you have things, I love people moving their beds into the center of the room, getting ritualistic with things.
Yeah, I think it's having that it's having that ability to, and I think this is why it's really helpful for somebody who maybe does deal with some anxiety or something, because it stops you from assuming that you have to do certain things a certain way and think about certain things a certain way. It's like, I can stop what I'm doing. I can take myself off of autopilot, which is something that more and more I want to get off of.
Nice, interesting,
and just actually be mindful of the moment and take time and have intention behind something. Because doing that, it's not gonna seem like it's gonna blend in with the rest of your day. If you take time to do something that's a little bit abstract and bizarre and really specific, you're gonna be present in that moment and you're gonna experience that thing. And also in line with making time and having the intention and putting intention behind things, that whole idea of reflecting and celebrating is to me, it lines up with what you're saying so perfectly, because it's so easy to have these little wins in life and completely take them for granted. And then it's like, well, what are you even going for?
Yeah.
It's like if you get these, nice moments, little anniversary type things, or, even, little successes that could be overlooked, taking the time to be like, no, I'm going to actually live in this moment and appreciate it and get some enjoyment out of this.
Enjoyment and also closure. I'll give a really concise example of this. I found a key. I've got so many keys. I have a lot of keys, like a weird amount of like brass keys, weird keys. I find keys, I pick them up. Anyways, there was this one key that I saw that I did not like the memories associated with it. Doesn't matter what it was, something from my past and a house that I no longer cared to access. And it's so funny because I could have taken this key and then, left it in the drawer and gone, oh, that's weird, whatever, gone about my day, done this thing. I also could have taken that key, tossed it in the trash can and kind of let it go and then thought about it and whatever, but instead I decided, because there was nothing to do in this pandemic and everything, it's like, no, take a moment, sit down with that key in front of you, take all the thoughts surrounding your energy with that key, like all your emotions, everything, psychically put them into that key. I walked it down to like the LA River, basically.
Garrett lives this stuff.
Yeah,
I just want to let everybody know. That's why when I'm around Garrett, not to be melodramatic, but I throw the word inspiring. It is to me, just because he'll like break out these stories, and I'm like, dude, if I did something like that, I probably would have told you about it, like something so
Well, that's
specific.
And now that's
and,
the one thing is these things are not meant
Yeah,
for other
yeah,
people,
yeah.
and that's the most important thing about them. They're not meant for other people. If they are, then you're not doing it like correct.
unless you're doing something with somebody.
Oh yeah, and ritualism, by the way, a really, really this is a very basic example of what I'm speaking about is people spreading loved ones' ashes. Is something that you see all the time in movies and maybe in life, and maybe you've done that yourself. That's a very beautiful, overt, ritualistic thing.
Yeah.
Spreading someone's ashes that you loved into nature to make them one with the world. That's
Dude,
incredible.
and I think
And by the way, just to wrap up that story,
Yeah,
it wasn't a dramatic. I didn't cast the key into the L.A. River, but I did subtly. I said goodbye to all the things associated with it, dropped it in, and then of course, nature takes its course. And I suppose I might have just admitted that it was a slight litter. I'm not. I promise I don't litter, but it was like a nice thing. Believe me, the L.A. River is. Point is though, it's very funny because I love doing things like that so much. Taking a moment with things, being intentional, and putting a sense of ritualism into that. But the most important takeaway from that, I think, it sounds egotistical. The most important thing about what I'm saying,
Here's a cheat sheet to understand the value that I just added to your life.
I hope that this lives in your head rent free. No, but I do want to say that please don't think that ritualism needs a book or a guide. You don't need to go to the library to find the proper thing to tell you how to be ritualistic. Make it up. Do what you want. Do what feels right. Get weird with yourself. In those quiet moments, take things, do things like that. And just because I think it's funny, if you don't mind my saying so, I know I've already given enough examples, but when we were decorating the set, Andrew was like grabbing random things from from around my place, which is kind of a dangerous game. I mean, you just opened up a knife earlier on the podcast and you were like, I thought this was fake. I was like, no, it can cut you. But it was funny because when we were decorating the set, Andrew was like, oh, how about this vase? And he like took it from like up there and he put it behind him, which you can see there, the colorful vase behind Andrew's head, which he's pointing
Yes.
And sorry, audio listeners, there's a colorful vase behind Andrew's head. And there was a bunch of stuff inside of it. And he was like, what's inside of this? And I didn't know how to tell him. It like shut me down because it's one of those things that I've done alone for so long that I was like,
It looked like soil in there. Did it look like just like potted soil? I don't know.
Like soil or something. But it's like it's not heavy at all. So he was like, "Wait, what is this?" I remember I excused it in the moment. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's just like some tea leaves," and he was like, oh, "Okay." And then it was just last night I told him what it actually was. But every time that I experience something special, because I'm really big on hyping things up for myself, I have video games, albums, conversations I have, things that I love ritualism. When I open up a gift, inviting something into my place, lighting candles, playing music for it, stuff like that. Just my little weird sense of ritualism. But every time that I've had a really, really lovely evening with myself of inviting something into my place, I would always have a cup of tea, like in a tea bag, and just like make the tea and then like listen to the album and cry with it or journal about it or watch it. So every time I had this really introspective evening with myself, I always had this tea, this tea. And every single time I did that, I would empty the tea bag into that vase, and then of course it just dries the next day, and then it's just loose leaf tea in there. And it's so funny because I love things with soul power, because I think things like that in environments carry very tangible energy, and so it's like that vase to me is very special because it's just a bunch of like memories and lovely evenings and intention, and it's like, oh yeah, it's cool to put things like that in environments. And if anyone's listening to that going like, oh, like that's weird or that's that, you're right. Like, of course it's not normal, but like, who cares? It's something that makes me feel good. It contributes to my environment. I like the soul power it gives. I love the intention. And furthermore, it's part of our set. It's behind Andrew. And I think it contributes to the direct energy of even like this video podcast. And I love stuff like that. And then the real kicker here is that's just one item that I've told you about. When I look around, all I see is moments like that for me. So I know I've been rambling on for a bit too long about this probably, but yeah, I love ritualism, and I just I hope that you can incorporate it into your life in some way, because I think it feels really, really good.
If you, I almost feel bad about doing this bit because that was such a nice thing. But if you hadn't looked at me the whole time and the camera never cut to me, and after you said that, it was just okay. Just the worst listener in a conversation.
Oh my God. Okay, that was a little weird. Moving on to something a little bit more normal. So.
No. I can only make that joke because of how genuinely relevant something like that is to me. Because I hear that and I'm like, wow.
I think it's nice that you bring that up because I think a lot of people, especially as they get older, whatever that the X factor of value that is woven in an activity like that, I think is something that is completely lost upon people when they get older, because it's when you're a kid, I think that type of stuff, whether people remember it or not when they were younger, I think that stuff kind of just happens naturally because you don't have that much of a reference for what is and isn't normal. It's like you're kind of just trying to understand how your emotions play off of certain activities and things. And then I think you do find yourself in situations where you're doing really specific things that are catered directly to you and are on your little, frequency of energy.
Yeah.
And tapping into something like that is always something that I think is super powerful and valuable. And it's almost like, well, you get older and that type of stuff just, well, that's not work or that's not the immediate thing in front of me, so why would I ever get around to that?
Oh, that's interesting.
But ultimately, I think as we're learning through conversation and thinking about things, that type of stuff is so important for you to even work. It's like if you don't do that,
I love what you're saying.
How are you going to bring into your work or into your to-do list or your laundry list of stuff any sense of, enthusiasm or, positivity or motivation? It's like you got to draw energy and you got to like orient yourself with who you are.
I fall victim to that all the time of being like, oh no, don't do this thing because you have to do this other thing. And then it starts that cycle that, by the way, is a deadly cycle of procrastination because it's like you're fearing this thing and then you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but you're telling yourself that you have to do this. And then it feels like you're being forced to do something. It's like,
and we are talking about taking the time to do things that, regardless of how specific they are, I think we are generally just talking about the value of taking time to do things which your brain might trick you into thinking you don't have time for.
Yeah,
right?
or that's not real.
Going on a bike ride, meditating, doing that yoga class. Well, I mean, doing the online yoga class that you've been, saying you're going to do for the last 2 years or something that you just haven't had time for.
Yeah.
It's like, but not doing that, how is that going for you? And I'm asking myself because it's like the amount of times that I have meditated or journaled or, done something a little outside the box and gotten things out, like the amount of times that's done well for me. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just, you gotta constantly remind yourself to do it.
Really
but when I think about specific things like that, I do think about, you brought up camping the other day.
Oh.
Because when we were in, and we could have a whole podcast about going to Washington, but we should also just straight up, and I think we will do this.
Yeah.
Once some things get kind of sorted out with just day-to-day life and getting a routine with some things. We're going back to Spokane.
We're gonna go back to Washington. Get in touch with our spirit. Cut this.
No, as always, I'll resist my temptation to talk about the fact that once upon a time I saw this thing on HGTV when they were talking about how great this house was, and it was located in Whitefish, Montana. Ever since then, I think we're running on about 11 years now. I've always glorified the idea of once, at some point, building or buying some type of lake house in Whitefish, Montana, where I would go to and I would reflect and I would do all of the things that we've been talking about, us needing to do today there, and I'd have a lovely time and I'd make friends with the ducks in my backyard and I would name them. One of them, of course, would be named Roger. And then I would just live my typewriting, fantasy novel writing author life in that place.
Ask me what I'm doing right now.
What are you doing right now?
I'm hugging Roger, and I'm saying you're my favorite duck.
Why is that like kind of a good impression of a duck?
Thank you, Roger. He's been doing what? He hasn't been doing any of the stuff that he said he would do? He's been sleeping in until 7 p.m.? What?
The cool thing I like about going to Washington is I feel like it would be fun to make things there. Whether we bring these cameras and we're shooting the podcast out in the freaking woods.
I've got dude. I've got a couple video ideas for out there that I've been cooking up.
It's just that's more. Yeah. It's cool when you can do something that also is kind of invigorating and rejuvenating.
Ooh, would y'all like to join Andrew and I on us basically running away from Los Angeles and still doing this podcast and escaping our...
Comment below.
Comment below if you want us to do this thing that we're clearly excited about that like you're probably going...
Should I? I love it. I don't know who has done this. I don't know. I love these people with all of my heart. I say that in the most sincere way, but oh my gosh, it's so funny when someone posts an Instagram story and they, should I upload my video tonight or tomorrow?
Or this.
What?
Hey guys, should I put a new merch design out? Like the people that have consciously chosen to follow them, they're just looking for that like, yes, king. Of course people are going to see it. How about you do something?
Should I post a new video sooner than later?
Hey guys, should I give you all $10 and send it? Like, yeah, people are like they joined you. They like your mind. Just do what you're gonna do.
Maybe the more I think about it now, maybe that's more of like a hypey thing. You know, it's basically saying, I have a video coming out tonight without saying it. That's cool. It's fun.
You know what?
It's fun.
It's
just funny.
It is kind of, I mean, I feel like, and by the way, Andrew and I could speak to this stuff, I feel, because we're like so in the trenches with it and like thinking about it all the time and how to navigate it. And, you know, because we're trying to navigate ourselves in this big, crazy world. Whoa.
He almost broke into song.
Yeah.
And then he stopped.
I know. You did sense that. I kind of wanted to take it more into this territory.
Yo.
Andrew and I.
Yo, I'm on a mission. Yo, Garrett was going to sing with Bale, Christian.
Oh, that was sick.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm going fishing. I'm loving it. Yeah. Me and my friends. We're going to. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. What it was, Andrew, my guess is as good as anyone else's. What this turned out to be.
The beginning was something. The middle was something.
It started with me talking about crying. Yeah. And then we went into something about my staff, and I gave you daggers, and then we brought it around to me being basically a witch in private, doing ritualistic. No, I'm joking. I don't mean to undermine that, because I love that about myself, and it's nice to be kind to yourself.
I'm glad that all of the value that we potentially created during this podcast was completely washed out by the last 3.5 minutes.
I've never wanted wedding cake more in my life than I want it right now.
Oh my God.
Doesn't that sound good?
Garrett, if you don't, I'm not even kidding you. This isn't like a bit.
Yeah.
Just, dude, break out the app. Tweet that. Tweet that yesterday, man. Do you know how many people would really be like, yes?
Dude, because we all miss weddings. I used to be a wedding DJ. That's for another time.
If weddings were still around, I would have found my wife by now. If weddings were still in existence, I would have found my missus.
Is this your glass slipper? I found it on the stairs. I'm your Prince Charming, and I want bears. We will have pet bears. One will be named Frederick. The other will be named We will feed them every day. We will live in a forest and eat a wedding cake.
We hope you had a nice time here, as always, and please comment down below any thoughts, ideas you have. Let us know about that whole eating nacho chips and talking about the podcast.
Oh, yeah,
or talking about life. Or
if you have any
something.
ideas for like a live
we're doing
something
that
at the
here,
end.
so I don't know about that, but until next time, be sweet.
And see you next week.
See you then.